Hi, this is Vinay Modi. In my last video, I talked about the eternal conundrum between smart work and hard work and how one can combine both and optimize the way he or she looks at life. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the importance of vocabulary, the power of words, and how one can influence other people by using words. People have this opinion that CAT or MBA aspirants do not have to go through rigmarole of vocabulary because CAT does not have direct application of vocabulary. Well, they are neither right nor wrong completely, because there are a lot of indirect ways you can actually see application of words in CAT. But the moment you shift momentum towards non-CAT exams like IFT, like XAT, SNAP, TIS, CMAT, you see loads of words and direct application of vocabulary. So it's imperative for young people to have a dispassionate view and approach towards imbibing vocabulary and getting better extra brownie marks, because that is something which gives people cutting edge advantage. Imagine, I make a statement out here, you are a hypochondriac who is tergiversating his or her way out and digressing the opinion. Now, and your paranoia is visible. Now, these three words are not used in common parlance, but then they have been important part of, these exams. These words were there in SNAP, XAT in last 2-3 years. Now, they are difficult words. The moment I say hypochondriac, people who have this irrational fear that they are going to fall sick. Tergiversate, last year it was there in SNAP, which essentially means people equivocating or giving two different opinions. And paranoia is an irrational fear where people have this fear of failure. Now, these are words which some people do not believe will be part of MBA exam, but they have been. So it's better that we actually embrace the idea and possibly focus on changing our approach towards vocabulary. Question is, in short span of time, how can we work towards vocabulary? There are ways through which one can optimize and get better results. First and foremost, the age-old approach can work wonders, which I have seen, students really getting benefited, and the system has really, made them understand this. What you need to do is that last 10 years paper, and focus on those words which have been integral part of these exams. I can assure you 90% of words that you will have in exams will be repeated from those 10 years papers only. It's very important for us to know that these words have application in day-to-day life in terms of professional or corporate environment. That's why these exams or these institutions actually focus on these words. So it's better, rather than reinventing the wheel, we focus on those words only. So that's one tip that I would like to give, that because people say what to study, so many words are there, lakhs and lakhs of words are there in dictionary, anything can come. It's not like that. Anything won't come. Application, repetitive approach will work. Second, make sure that you learn words by grouping words. Make 5 to 6 groups and then try and master the art of focusing on those. For example, idioms and phrases. There are several idioms and phrases which have been very, very important part of all exams that you people are going to write. For example, he kicked the bucket yesterday. Kicking the bucket is a phrase which means to die. Now, there is a historical reason behind using the term bucket, but essentially it means to die. Yesterday he kicked the bucket, that means to die. Yeah. There are other phrases also that one can use. So it's better that in last 10-15 years, all exams have focused on few idioms and phrases. At least know these and try and work towards it. His room was at 6th and 7th. Now that essentially means a total chaotic situation or a disorder. And of course, one can actually go on and on, but have that category and then try and master that art. Possibly it can work for you. The second category of vocabulary that I would advise people to focus on would be words which confuse us a lot. There are a lot of words which look similar, which sound similar, but they confuse us a lot. For example, apposite and opposite. Now, we use this word opposite quite often, but apposite is a word which is rarely used, which essentially means appropriate, apt, and relevant. Now, that kind of differentiator can really work wonders. This is one word which has appeared in previous year's exam. For example, A word like amiable and amicable. So amiable is lovable and charming. Amicable is always solution driven approach. You solve problem in a very amicable fashion, which is dispute solving approach. So that difference or that approach is very important when it comes to finding those words which can confuse you. A simple word like advise and advice, one happens to be verb, other happens to be noun. And there are a lot of words which have this differentiation. And you'll be surprised to know most of the MBA exams focus on this basic pattern quite often. And of course, there are a lot of words which possibly, for example, illicit and illicit. So illicit liquor, people die because of consuming illicit liquor, spurious or poisonous liquor. And illicit is to draw or infer. Now, so focus on words which can confuse you. And there are at least 70 to 80 words which possibly you can follow. And I'm sure few words will be there when you write the exam. Third, words which have foreign origin. Of course, English itself is foreign for us. But then English apparently actually has collected words from all over the world. It's a very eclectic mix of how we look at our life using these words. So there are French words, Spanish word, German word, Russian word, Yiddish word, Latin word, Sanskrit word, Urdu word, Devanagari word, Japanese word. Of course, plethora of words are there, multitude of words are there. You can't focus on all, but at least there are 100 to 150 words which are used quite often. For example, he is my alter ego. Now, alter ego is a word, it's a Latin word which means other self. Now, it's a foreign word which is used heavily, extensively in corporate, world, and maybe in newspapers also you come across this word quite often. For example, deja vu. It's a French word which we've heard quite often. Now, these words are very integral part of MBA exams. So make sure that you actually master that category and try and revise and repeat. And I can assure you, you'll find these words in these exams. Third category are powerful words. Words which have impact, which can create impact. Because when you use these words, you look very powerful. For example, a big organization is a very normally used word. The moment I say it's a behemoth organization, I'm actually talking about magnitude. I can always say, you look good, but the moment I say I look ravishing, so that's very strong word. So there are words like frugal, prevaricate, and of course gigantic, monster. There are words. So powerful words also is one category that one needs to master. And there are at least 150 200 words which you can actually work towards. Fourth would be a category of words which have historical precedence, words which have historical origin, like a word like narcissist. There are stories behind these words, and it's very easy to understand these words because there's a story behind these words. So almost 50 odd words would be such which have historical precedence. And if you actually go through those stories, like Judas, these word which has origin in Christianity. So try and focus on these and combine and make an optimum solution towards vocabulary. And then you'll be able to actually find that when you solve fill in the blanks, when you solve odd man out, when you solve synonyms, antonyms, when you solve reading comprehension, you find it very easy to eliminate options, because smart work in English or language would be about eliminating option, at least in vocabulary, provided you really follow it. And of course, there's no limit to that. You can have phrasal verb, but it's important for you to get those 10 to 15 extra marks in 3-4 minutes only. So which is a huge cutting edge advantage. And I have this feeling that students who are good at this section or this domain, they end up cracking these exams very easily. So that's my approach towards vocabulary. I know it's short time, but then it can work well for you. So in my next session, I'm going to take a deep look at forthcoming exams, their pattern, the nuances, the nitty-gritties, and how one should really approach those. Thank you.